All right, greetings. This is the practice, exam number 1, the practice. So let's get started. Use substitution to determine whether the given ordered pair is a solution of a given equation. So in the equation, I'm going to substitute in place of x, I'll substitute -6, and in place of y, I'll substitute -57 if the left side equals the right side. We're in business. If not, we'll answer no. All right, so y? Well, y is given to me as a -57. Now the question is that equal to 8 times the x value, which is given to me as a -6 minus 9? Does -57 equal -48 minus 9? Does -57 equal -57? Yes, it does, so I'll answer yes, and somehow this looks very familiar to one we've seen before. Number 2, if I can write it up here, well, I can write it over here, I got plenty of room. 5x plus 4y is equal to 30. So in place of x, I'm going to substitute in 2. Does 5 times 2 plus 4 times y. In place of y, I'm going to put in 5. And here again, this looks awful familiar to one we've done in the homework. Does 30 equal 30? Yes, it does. So I'm answering yes. Give me a second here. Find the x and the y intercepts. All right, what I'm going to do here first is I'm going to solve this equation for y, and I'll tell you why I'm doing that in a moment. 4x minus 3y equal to minus 12. All right, I'm going to bring the 4x onto the other side. Minus 3y equal to a -4x minus 12. Dividing everything through by a -3. Dividing both sides by a -3. Negative 3's cancel out. So I get a negative over a negative, which is a positive. Positive 4/3 x. A minus a negative divided by a negative. Signs are the same. Quotient. Quotient is positive. 12 divided by 3 is 4. All right, so the first thing I notice here is that my slope here, the coefficient of my x term, is positive. That tells me that my line slants uphill from left to right. This guy here, letter A slanting downhill, all right? So it can't be letter A. This is a positive 4/3. It can't be letter A. Letter D also slants downhill, all right? So already I know it's either going to be letter C or letter B or letter C. So here is my B value, my y-intercept, which is a positive 4. The y-intercept here is a -3, all right, and the y-intercept here is a positive 4. So we got the right one, letter C. But by solving this for y, I already knew that these two guys weren't going to be my answers. The line was, they had a positive slope, it slanted uphill. This guy is the one that had a positive 4 as the y-intercept. Let us see. Let's see, this guy here, number 6, is a repeat. We're looking for the the y-intercept. So solving this equation for y, here's what I've got. I've got 2x plus y equals -6. All right, bringing the 2x onto the other side as a negative, -6. All right, so here's what I know. There is my m value, my slope. I've got this in the form of, I've got to solve for y, so this is in the form of y equals mx plus b. And there is my y-intercept, which is a -6. All right. So already I knew that my line is slanting downhill because I have a negative slope, so it can't be letter A, which goes uphill. Can't be letter C, which goes uphill too. So it's either going to be B or D, and I'm looking for the one that has the y-intercept of 0, -6. And obviously this is the guy here, 0. There's my y-intercept of -6. This has got a +6 here. So letter D is the correct answer. 0, -6 right here. There's my y-intercept. Alright, so that's number one. Number 4. Okay. Got a few more to do here. Number 5, what I've done here is just put this into my graphing calculator and just making sure that I'm using the negative sign, not the subtract sign. The negative sign is the last row of your calculator, all right? The subtract sign is in the last column. I'm using this as a negative. Whenever you start out, it's a negative. You're using the negative sign, not the subtract sign. In either case, there's the graph of your equation. And this is number 5 and letter C. Okay, letter C. Now these guys look very familiar, very similar, I should say. And the difference being, let's assume, let's take a value, let's say, of x equal to 2. All right, if I were to substitute 2 into this equation here, I'd have y is equal to a minus times 2 squared. I'd have minus 2 times 4. I'd have a -8. Now here at -2, you're way down here at -8. All right. Now here, if I were to put in a +2, it's way off the chart somewhere. All right, so it can't be. If you had a problem with whether it's 8, because they looked very similar, this is the one. Just by checking a point, you see that putting in 2, this graph gives you back a -8, and there you are down here at a actually -8. -8 was right. It's -9, -8 was right here. Alright, so this is the correct one with a C. 5C. Graphing this line here again, I put it into the calculator. Notice the distinction. This is the negative sign, and that is the subtract sign. All right, this is on the last row. This is on the last column. And obviously it's got a negative slope, so it's slanting downhill, and there it is right here. And it's got a y-intercept of -3. So here we are, number 6, letter D. There's your y-intercept right here of -3. All right, there you have it. But already you knew it couldn't be A, because that goes uphill. It couldn't be B. This guy here had a y-intercept of +3. That says it's a -3. Well, this does not look like this. This obviously looks like letter D, so that's kind of a no-brainer there. Number 7, you got a second-degree equation. It's a parabola. Alright, so graphing this in my calculator, and the only one that looks anything like this, number 7, is letter C. I'm matching this up with letter C. I mean, obviously it's not A, this is not A, this is not B, and that's certainly not letter D. That's going downhill. Alright, opening down, which meant that you'd have to have a negative up in front. Don't. So that is C. Here's an easy one. Alright, so now I've got to use some scrap paper. My distance formula, let me see if I get this a little closer. Find the distance between 4, 4 and 8, 9. Let me put this a little further up. 2 points in question. 4, 4 and 8, 9. Find the distance between those 2 points. Distance is the square root of x2 minus x1 quantity squared plus the difference between y2 and y1 quantity squared. I wish I had a better eraser. I'm going to find a better eraser than this. Alright. I want to refer to this as x1 and y1, and I'll refer to that as x2 and y2. And then substituting in my values here. X sub 2, 8 minus x sub 1, which is 4. Square that difference, plus the difference of the y value is 9 minus 4, and square that. 8 minus 4, well that's 4. 4 squared is 16. 9 minus 4 is 5. 5 squared is 25. And combining 16 and 25 is 41. Square root of 41. And that's given to us as letter B. And what they've done here, they've taken that and expressed it as a decimal. You wouldn't have to do that. You don't see square root of 41 on any other of the examples. Number 9, points in question are 1, negative 3, and 7, 5. So the distance form, the difference of my x values. So that's 5 minus, I'm sorry, difference, of my x values. 5 minus 1 quantity squared. 5 minus 1 quantity squared plus the difference of the y's. 7 minus, well, let me just start this over again, Mr. Gomes. All right, difference of my x. Maybe I should just label these x1, y1, x2, and y2. Yeah, all right. All right, difference of my x values, 7 minus 1, squared difference of my y values, 5, minus 3, and I'll square that. So what have I got? 7 minus 1 is 6, 6 squared is 36, 5 minus a minus is 5 plus 3 is 8. 8 squared is 64, so I've got a square root of 100. 100's a perfect square, and a square root of 100 is 10. So what do we got? Number 9, we've got letter D. The distance between those 2 points is 10. All right, we got it. Midpoint, what could be easier? I'm going to average out the x values. Let's see, 4 plus 8 divided by 2, and average out the y values. 5 plus 3, average that out. Let's see, 4 plus 8 is 12. 12 divided by 2 is 6. 5 plus 3 is 8. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So number 10, there it is. The midpoint is 0.64. Looking for another pencil here. Yeah, I got one. That one here was not the greatest. Alright, midpoint. Let's average out the x values. Let's see, 7 plus a negative 16. 7 plus a negative 16. Sum there is a negative 9. I'm going to cut that in half. Let's see, 1 plus a negative 16 is a negative 15, and I'm going to cut that in half. Average it out. That's what the midpoint is, the average of the x's and the average of the y values. So number 11, we got it right here. Minus 9 halves, minus 15 halves. Okay. Equation of a circle. The general equation of a circle is x minus h quantity squared plus y minus k quantity squared equal to r squared, where hk is the center of your circle. So, find the center of the circle. He gives me x minus 5 quantity squared plus y squared. That's what he gives me. Alright, plus y squared equal to 36. Alright, so the h value, the h value, which is the x of your center, comes after a minus sign. So after the minus sign is the h. After the minus sign is a 5. Okay, got it. And what I'm going to do is express y squared as y minus 0 quantity squared. So after the minus sign comes a 0. So there's my center, 5, 0. this number represents the radius squared. So if r squared is 36, then r is the square root of 36, which is 6. So actually what he wanted me, all he wanted me to do here, it's like I made up my own new problem. And where am I getting these values from? Oh, this is great. All right, where did I get these two values from? I have no idea. I had a brain freeze there. All right, well, here's the thing. Let me just start number 12 right from Jump Street. Sorry about that. I don't know where I got these values. I must be making these guys. Oh, I know. I skipped over 12 and 13. I went to number 14. And what did I get for 14? The center is at 5, 0, and the radius is 6. Number 14. Yeah, letter D. Alright, so I got the right answer. Just did the wrong problem. I did 14 before I did 12 and 13. Well, while I'm at it, I guess I might as well do 15 and then go back to 12 and 13. Sorry about that. 15 says this. 15 says, find the center and the radius. He gives me x plus 4 quantity squared plus y plus 2 quantity squared equal to 9. Now, the general format of a circle is, once again, x minus h quantity squared plus y minus k quantity squared equal to the radius squared. So if r squared equals 9, then we know that the radius must be the square root of 9, or 3. So let me just check out. Yeah, I see that letter C has a radius of 3 and letter D has a radius of 3. So it's not going to be A, nor is it going to be B. Alright, so which one we got? Now, because you got a plus sign, you got to express x plus 4 quantity squared is x minus a minus 4 quantity squared plus y minus a minus 2 quantity squared equal, I want to say this is 3 squared. Here's a simple way. If my center here, it comes after the minus sign. So my center is a negative 4, comma, negative 2. Another way of doing it is if you see a plus, just change the sign to a negative. All right. If you see pluses, you're giving an equation of a circle, you want the center, simply change the sign. Or express a positive 4 as minus a minus. All right, minus 4, minus 2. And there we have it, letter D, minus 4, minus 2. I think it's just as easy as if you see a minus sign, the H and the K come after. If you have a plus, then you're going to change the sign because of the general format of a circle, which is that. All right, let me go back now and do 12 and 13. I did that out of order. My center is given to me as 10, 0, and my radius is given to me as 5. So here's the general equation of a circle. X minus h quantity squared plus y minus k quantity squared equal to r squared. So I've got 8x minus, here's my h, there's my k, x minus 10 quantity squared plus, let's see, y minus my k, y minus 0 quantity squared is just y squared. If my radius is 5, 5 squared is going to be 25. So, number 12, and which one looks like what I've got here, and obviously it's number 12, letter B, right here. Oops, number 12, letter B. Alright, yeah, x minus 10, got it, plus y squared equal to 25. Alright. Number 13. My center is given to me as negative 3, 1, and my radius is a square root 19. So this is x minus my h value. X minus a minus is x plus 3 quantity squared plus y minus my k value, y minus 1 quantity squared equal to r squared. If R is the square root of 19. Squaring the square root of 19 is just going to give me 19. So I'm looking for x plus 3 quantity squared, number 13. X plus 3 quantity squared plus y minus 1 quantity squared equal to square root of 19 squared is 19. So letter A is looking real good. Letter A. I don't know where they're getting these crazy numbers like 361 from. Don't know. You can almost see letter D trying to play with you. Alright. Sorry about that mishap. Skipped over 12 and 13, went to 14, but no big deal. So what do we got here? Number 16, he's looking for the domain. So I want to find a set that contains the domain of -2, 5, 6, -5, and 12. But I think it's just as easy, looking at all of these. Number 16, to look at the range. The range here is 1, -6, -2, 8, and 6. All right, on number 16. So if I look at letter B, I see it in the correct order. 1, -6, -2, the 8, and the 6. Now, do I have a 5 in my domain? Sure. Do I have a 12 in my domain? Yeah, I got it there. Do I have a -5 in my domain? Yes. A -2? Yes. A 6? Yes. So when you do these, it's probably easier to match up this with the domain, all right, because he gives us the domain in the correct order, and he jumbles up the domain. I'm sorry, he gives us the range in the correct order, just the way it appears here. You see it listed in the correct order. So that's probably the easiest way of doing it. All right. Number 17, given the function x squared plus 5x plus 7, find f of -1. So, let's see, x squared plus 5x plus 7, find f of -1. So in place of x, I'm going to substitute -1. So -1 squared plus 5 times -1. Plus 7. So what do we got? -1 squared is 1, plus 5 times -1 is -5, plus 7. Let's see, 7 and 1 is 8. 8 subtract 5, well, it's 3. Number 17, letter C. Then I see, I'm putting in place of x, I'm putting in 0. The minute you got a 0 in your numerator, all right, 0 divided by anything is going to be 0. All right, so I got 0 over 4 minus 0 squared. Well, 0 squared is 0. 4 minus 0 is 4. The square root of 4 is 2. 0 divided by 2 is 0. 0 divided by anything, number 18, 0 divided by anything is 0. Number 19, find f of 1. F of 1. So in place of x, I'm going to substitute 1. So this is 1 squared minus 2 times my x value of 1 plus 3. So let's see, 1 squared is 1, minus times positive is minus, plus 3. 3 plus 1 more is 4. 4 subtract 2, well, that's going to be 2. Number 19, letter C. No 20, I guess I could do a table of values, but why would you want to do that? It's so easy just to put this into your calculator. This is what the graph looks like. Just match that graph up with either A, B, C, or D, and obviously the only one even looks anything like it is letter A. Alright, that looks like this, and where that is 4, okay? And that value there is 2. Alright, so it looks just, only thing that's even close. Looking for the domain and the range. The domain is a set of all x values. So my x values start right here at -3, and they go to 2. Now, it includes -3 because of the closed circle. All right, so it's a bracket there at -3. It's an open circle here at 2, so it's a parenthesis. So right now I'm looking for a bracket parenthesis with -3 and 2. And this is what, number 21. And right now, I mean, I've got it right here. This is the only one that has the correct domain. So I'm not even worrying about the range. The range here goes from -6 all the way to +1, and once again, -1, and -1 is not included. That's why it's a parenthesis. But the minute I found the right domain from -3, including -3, but not including 2, right there, nothing else had that, so I was done. I didn't have to do anything else once that was right, because there was no other one that had the correct domain. The domain goes here from -pi to comma to 2pi, and including both those values because of the dots. So number 22, here again, this is the only one that has the correct domain from -pi to 2pi. There it is, -pi to 2pi. And then why even bother with the range? The range is from -4 to +4, from -4 to +4, including both because both of those points are included. That's pretty straightforward. Find the slope of this line. Well, first of all, the line slants downhill, so I know it's a negative slope. If it's a negative slope, it can't be C, nor can it be D. All right, so here's what I've been saying right along. Sometimes, before you even start the problem, or initially starting, you can probably discount a couple of answers. That way there, it avoids making a careless mistake. Now, I can look at this, vertical change is 5, horizontal change is -5. +5 divided by -5 is a -1. I can look at it that way. Or I can just, look at the 2 points, which takes more time. The more you know, the more you know, all right? So my slope is the difference of my y values, -5 or -0, 0 minus 0 minus a -5. So what have I got here? A -5 over a +5, which is a -1, but I kind of knew that. All right, my vertical change, +5, my horizontal change, a -5. I'm going 5 up and 5 to the left, so I knew this was -1 about half an hour ago. Well, not half an hour, but I knew it earlier. Multiple ways of getting to the same conclusion. All right, using some common sense, I guess. All right, here are my 2 points. Calculate the slope. Let me see if I can do this on a piece of paper. It may be easier for me to do. My 2 points are 7, 3, and the other point is 2, 4. So my slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I'm going to call this x1, y1, x2, and y2. y2 is 4 minus y1, which is 3, over x2, which is 2, minus x1, which is 7, so I got a 1 over a -5, which is a -1/5. Letter C, number 24, letter C, straightforward. Find the slope and the y-intercept. Find the slope and the y-intercept of the line. Well, the line is y equals -8. Whenever you have an equation that says y equals something, you got a horizontal line, all right, that goes through, guess what? -8 on the y-axis. It's a horizontal line. All right, so the slope of a horizontal line is 0. And guess what? The y-intercept is -8. Let me know. 25, letter C. Here you got a x equals something, so that's a vertical line. All right. Slope of a vertical line is not defined, so it's not A, it's not B. And if it's a vertical line, then it doesn't cut across the y-axis. It's parallel to the y-axis. It hasn't got a y-intercept. Number 26, letter C. X equal 12 is a vertical line going through the x-axis at 12. It's parallel to the y-axis. It doesn't have a y-intercept. And the slope is undefined. I'm going to do 27 and 28. Before I even do that, staying with horizontal, I'm just going to skip over 27 and 28 for the moment and come back to those. Write the equation of the horizontal line and vertical line that passes to the given point. Well, here's my point. Horizontal line is always y equals something. Alright, horizontal line is always y equals something. Well, what's my y value? Minus 2. So I'm looking for something that says y equals negative 2 for number 29. Well, there it is, y equals negative 2. Vertical line is always x equals something. Well, what's my x value? It's 9. There it is, x equals 9. I don't know what's going on with these two crazy ones. Alright, horizontal lines are not x equals something, they're y equals something. Letter C. Alright, so we got 29 out of the way. Let me go back now. As I look at number 27, I see my points are negative 6, negative 9, and 8, negative 9. Suspiciously, the y values are identical. I've got a horizontal line. All right. Go to your left, 6, go down 9. Go to your right, 8, come down 9. You've got a horizontal line. Horizontal lines are always y equals something. Well, guess what? The y value is negative 9. If I were to calculate the slope, I would have had my difference of my y values. I'd have negative 9 minus a minus 9 over 8 minus a minus 6, 8 plus 6, but whatever. Here I've got a 0, all right? 0 divided by 14 is 0. If you get a line whose slope is 0, it's a horizontal line. In this case, it's y equals negative 9, letter D. Number 28 is neither horizontal nor vertical. The x values are different. The y values are different. So let's calculate the slope first. So we got here, difference of my my points here are 3, 0 and negative 9, 5. So my slope is the difference of my y values, 5 minus 0 over negative 9 minus 3. So this is 5 over a negative 12, a negative 5/12. Now, as I look at the solutions to number 28, I know my slope is going to be a negative 5/12. Well, this slope is 3/14. That's negative 3/14. This guy has a slope of 5/12. I need a slope of negative 5/12. So there it is right there. It's the only one that has the correct slope. There it is. I'm done. There's no need of me solving for the b value. That was the only equation that had the correct slope. I'm done. There's no need even going any further to find the b value. And I'm not even going to waste your time doing it. I'm done. There's ways, with these problems that you can make life easier for yourself. Now, would you want to find the b value? No, I'm not going to waste your time. This is the only one that had the correct slope. All right. Here again, just to prove a point. My equation is my general equation of a line is y equals mx plus b. All right, so right now I know I've got y equals a negative 5/12 times x plus my b value. I can draw a better x. So utilizing any one of these points here, I'm going to use this guy because it's easier to work with because it is 0. My y value is 0 equal to a minus 5/12 times my x value, which is 3, plus my b value. So 0 equals a negative 15/12 plus b. Bringing this on the other side of the equation, I got 15/12 is equal to b. But this to lowest terms, dividing both 15 and 12 by 3, I get 5/4 for my b value. So you see there's your 5/4. But I did all that work for nothing because I knew the slope of my line was negative 5/12. C had the only one that had the right slope, so why do all that? I just did it to prove a point because that's what I do. but you wouldn't have to do that. There's ways that you can be test savvy, I'll say. Test savvy. Find whether these lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. If they have the same slope, they're parallel. If they have slopes whose product is -1, it's perpendicular. And if neither of those situations happen, you get nothing. So, let's see the first line. 3x minus 8y equals 6. Bringing that on over. Minus 8y is equal to minus 3x plus 6. Dividing the whole thing through by -8. Y is equal to negative over negative is positive. Alright, I don't even need to know that is -3/4. That's the b value. What I want here is the slope of this first line. Alright, it's 3/8. 3/8. Slope of the second line, what do we got? 32x plus 12y equal to 6. I'm going to bring that on the other side of the equation. 12y equals minus 32x plus 6, dividing everything through by 12. I don't need necessarily to know this. To lowest terms, dividing both of these, 4 goes into 8, 32 8 times, 4 goes into 12 3 times. And that's a positive 1/2. Now, how does 3/8 compare to -8/3? They're negative reciprocals of one another. If I multiply 3/8 times a -8/3, I'm going to get a negative 24 over 24, which is a -1. All right, the product of these two is a -1. These guys are perpendicular. These guys are negative reciprocals. All you can say their product is -1. In either case, you've got perpendicular lines. Number 31, 6x plus 2y equals 8. Therefore, 2y is equal to minus 6x plus 8, dividing everything through by 2. Y is equal to -6 divided by 2 is a -3x. Here again, I don't need to know that. The slope of my line here is -3. The second line, is 9x plus 3y equal 14, or 3y equals -9x plus 14, dividing everything through by 3. And y is equal to a minus 3x plus 14/3. This is immaterial. Here's what I want. This slope and this slope are identical. You got parallel lines. Letter A, 31A. Alright. 32. I want the line to go through -9, 0, and to be parallel to. Well, I need 2 bits of information. I need to know a point, which I've got, and I need to know the slope of this new line. The slope of my new line will be the same as the slope of the line he gives me, which I don't know. So let's solve for the slope of the line he gives me. Let's solve this for y. 6y equal to -5x minus 33. Divide everything through by 6. I don't need to know that per se. Here I've got a -5/6x. Alright, so here's the slope of the line he gives me. So I want a line that's going to be parallel to this line. So it has to have the identical slope. So the slope of my line has to be the same as the one he gives me. And it passes through the point -9, 0. So let's do this. Y is equal to mx plus b. In place of y, I'm going to substitute 0. The slope is going to be a -5/6 times the x value plus b, or 0 equals 54 over 6 plus b, or b equals, if I bring this over, it's going to be a negative, and divide both numerator and denominator by, let's see, 54 divided by 6 is what, 9? So my b value is 9. So my equation is y equals, it's going to have the same slope, -5/6x, and I know my b value is a -9. So number 32. 32. And where what is the problem here? Well, the problem is Mr. Gomes can't multiply. That's the problem. You see, minus 5 times minus 9 is 45, not 54. Oh my gosh. Alright, so if I bring this guy over, this is going to be a negative 45 over 6. Dividing negative 45 by 3, I get negative 15. Dividing 6 by 3, I get 2. So my b value is negative 15 halves. It helps if you can multiply. Minus 15 halves, that's a lot better. Alright. So, I don't make mistakes on purpose, but, you know, if you do it and you're getting an answer, that's not one of the 4 answers given, you done something wrong. And here again, as you see what I'm doing here, I do things step by step, all right? Even doing things step by step, I said 5 times 9 is 54. No, not in Massachusetts, maybe on Mars somewheres. The idea is I made a mistake. I had an answer that wasn't one of my answers, so I went back and I just kind of went through my steps here. You know, as opposed to doing things in your head. If you do it on pencil and paper, you can rapidly see you're making a mistake. And trust me, you'll make a couple. All right, but that was an easy one to solve. All right, I want an equation of a line that goes through that point and perpendicular to that line. Well, my new line, if it's going to be perpendicular to this line, it's going to have the slope that's the negative reciprocal of the slope of the line he gives me. But I don't know the slope of the line he gives me. So let's solve for it. Minus 7x plus 9y equals 19, or 9y equals 7x plus 19, dividing everything through by 9 here. The slope of the line he gives me is 7/9. I don't need to know that. That's immaterial. So my slope has to be the negative reciprocal of this. All right, the negative of a positive is a negative, and the reciprocal of 7/9 is 9/7. Notice, if I multiply 7/9 times a negative 9/7, I get a -1. Their product is -1. They're negative reciprocals. So my line has to have that as a slope, and it's going to go through that point right there. It's going to have a slope of a negative 9/7. Well, if that's the case, that's positive 9/7. That's a negative 7/9. Now, both of these have the same slope. I'm doubting it's that. I'm leaning here, but let's go ahead and solve it anyways. Y is equal to mx plus b. So my line has to have a slope of a negative 9/7 times x plus b. And I'm going to use the point he gives me 7/3. So in place of my y, 3 is equal to minus 9/7 times my x value plus b. Here I get some cancellation. This is negative 9 plus b. Yeah, alright, so if I... Am I headed towards a disaster here? Let me take a peek at this again. Slope of the line he gave me, my line he gave me was this. Negative 7x plus 9y equals 19. So, bringing that over positive, dividing through by 9, 7/9, negative 9/7. Negative 9/7. That looks good. Alright. So already I knew it was either this guy or this guy here. Alright, so the point in question, well, there it is. I'm using the wrong point. I went back and used I don't know where I get 7/3 from. The point that this guy is supposed to go through is right here. Alright, number 33. And where did I get this 0.73 from? I got it from some creator. Oh, too many problems, Mr. Gomes. All right, the point in question that this line is supposed to go to is -4, -1. All right, so y is equal to mx plus b. Y is equal to my slope of my line is supposed to be a -9/7. All right. -9/7 times x plus b. So the correct point is that this line is supposed to go through. So -1 equals -9/7 times a -4 plus b. -1 equals 36/7 plus b. Bringing that onto the other side. -1 is the same thing as a -7/7 minus 36/7. Equal to b, and this is what a -43 is my b value. Alright, so y is equal to finally a -9/7 x minus 43/7. And that's the letter D. I kind of knew it wasn't this guy. I had the right slope. Usually it's not. Well, I shouldn't say usually. It helps if you use the right point. So apologize for those last two. Apparently 33 problems is too many for Mr. Gomes to do without making any mistakes. Hope that helped.